you know what, I like this look of the Corvette dashes.
Right.
So that's why I went in and built that one by hand out of steel. Right. Most of the stuff I build out of steel just because I know it's going to last.
Right.
And those cab extension panels were built out of aluminum just to not have a whole bunch of extra hanging weight.
Right.
Floor, yeah, whenever I did that, that is actually Ponderosa pine with a mahogany stain. Basically, the truck comes from Burrows Trucking out of Wann. It hauled dozers most of its life. It's one of Alfred Burrows is who owned it. He owned Burrows Trucking, and they run trucks all over the country. Yeah. Basically, this one stayed mostly local. It hauled dozers and end up once in a while. It was one of his first trucks. It's a 72, and as far as I know, he bought it in 74. He was the second owner. When I got the truck, it had 270,000 original miles showing on the odometer. Now, if it had been unhooked, I don't know, but that's what it showed. And I didn't see any reason to dispute it. So I purchased it from him. It took a little doing. He didn't really want to part with it. Right. After a few trips and him kind of getting tired of me asking him about it, he finally gave in and said he'd sell it to me. I won't say what he sold it to me for. He told me when I bought it, he told me if I ever want to sell it, I had to bring it back to him, and he'd give me what I gave him for it plus what I got in it. He come by after I'd done a little work to the truck, painted it, and done some other things, and he said, well, on our previous deal, he said, I can't afford to buy it back from you. He said, so you just don't worry about it. You know, Alfred was a good friend of the family. He just passed away just the other day. And, he laid to rest in Coffeyville. He actually rode from the service to the cemetery. He actually rode on the back of a 379 on his last truck. Wow. They built a box that slid on the fifth wheel, and that's how he got there. I started working on this truck mostly just as something to do in the evenings. It was before I was married. It was before I had a kid. I just enjoyed being around trucks. Yeah. You know, and this was an old Pete, and that's what I was into. I mean, some people are into old cars, right, which is probably a lot cheaper hobby than being into old trucks. Basically, I started on this one just because it was local. I knew the truck, and I got it at a good price, and I thought, yeah, sure, that's the way to go. Get a cheap truck and just work on it. And next thing I know, I've bought it back probably 10 times now, and people started coming by the shop. I have a couple of friends that have trucks, and they come by and seen stuff, little custom things I've done on this one. They're like, hey, I like that. Can you do one for me? And you know, hey, can you paint this for me? And I want to put fenders on my truck, and it just kind of snowballed. The next thing I knew, I was ordering parts from all over the country to put on people's trucks, and people would come in and say, hey, I want to mount these fenders, but I don't want them mounted like everybody else. And so I'd fabricate brackets, and next thing I know, I was buying rollers, and I've got 3 welders sitting in the shop, and the plasma, and everything just started stacking up. And you needed a tool for a job, you picked it up, and then you end up using it more than you thought. And like I said, I share the shop with my dad. We farm about 5,000 acres, and so I'm working on farm equipment, and then I'm working on trucks when we're not working on farm equipment. Right. And now anymore, I'm kind of looking like I'm going to have to build my own shop, because he's starting to want more and more of his stuff done, and not having quite enough room to do it. Yeah. So, and as far as painting goes, I need a little bit of, I put exhaust fans in the shop. Wear all the correct equipment to paint with, but I'm still painting out of a barn. Yeah. That's kind of, I think, the limiting factor now is not having a negative air to paint with.